things that are going to help you get the quickest return are going to be those more intent-based keywords because they're more unique.
Again, brand awareness. Okay, I'm not a client for you, but I want to watch your video.
Portfolio repair, whatever it is, and then qualify that person before you spend money on the click. That's just kind of the way it goes when you're doing PPC.
So PPC is like dating.
It's just like dating. And every time somebody scrolls, make sure that there's something for them to do.
Welcome back to the Built by Me podcast. Today, we're speaking with Bernie, head of partnerships at One SEO. One SEO is a marketing agency that's focused on service-based businesses, and they specialize in everything from SEO, pay-per-click, social media ads, and much, much more. If you've ever wondered what SEO is and why you should care about it for your business, today's episode breaks it all down. So without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being on. Welcome back to the Built by Me podcast. I'm Taina.
I'm Mo.
And today we have a very special guest. We have Bernie here from One SEO. And I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, Bernie. Tell us about One SEO. Tell us about yourself, your role there.
Yeah, well, thanks so much first, guys, for having me here on the podcast. You guys are awesome. Our clients all love using you guys for their reviews and everything. So it's an exciting partnership for us. And speaking of that, I am the head of partnerships over here at One SEO. So basically what I do is facilitate relationships between organizations like ours and coaching groups and things like that to bring success both ways, especially to the end user, who is typically going to be someone that operates a local business, whether that's going to be a home service company or it's going to be a dental office or a doctor, an attorney, anyone that really needs help getting a better presence online, or anyone that wants to grow their business would typically come to me. And then I would tell them to go to you for reputation management.
Love it. I love it. Why don't we start simple here? Why don't we kind of take it back to the basics and dive right in and say, what is SEO and why would you say it's important for businesses to be successful?
Well, SEO is it's short for search engine optimization. But what it really is it's your visibility online organically. There's a few different spots on the first page of Google. And when you scroll past the top and the ads and the map pack and you get down into those results right there, that's where the SEO is. That's organic search positioning. And they say that the best place to bury a dead body is on the second page of Google for a reason, because people don't typically go there. They're going to make their decision on that first page. And still, most of the time, people are going to choose in that organic section. So without getting technical and nerdy on you guys about what SEO is, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's your visibility in that position on the first page of Google.
I feel like I sometimes go to the second page, but that's only if there's when you're in the Google Maps section and there's only 5 things at the first one, I'll go to the second because I can do 10. I can do 10, but the third page, I'm never going there.
I go to the second page when I'm feeling adventurous,
Right. Yeah.
Or if I'm looking for. I also go there when I'm looking to if I want to get a client in a certain market that I'm not in yet. That's when we'll go to the second page of Google.
Right. It's like, okay, you need my help.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a whole different secret world is how to get on the second page of Google.
I'm
trying to get on the first.
Yo, sometimes people will say that to me too. They'll be like, yeah, I'm doing great. We're on like the second page, third page for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that doesn't really matter, man. Nobody's going there. And then we'll look at like how many people actually go to their site from their SEO, and it's like 13 people maybe, So it's really true, especially when you're in like the trades or you're like an attorney. They're gonna choose right there.
Yeah,
100%.
Especially the top 3. Like that's gonna be like most people don't really go past that.
Yeah, and when you're looking at search like activity too, or like different tools that kind of measure search success and visibility. They always break it out too into like the SEMrush is one of them, for example. They'll say top 3 and then positions 4 to 10. And that's the first page. So you're right. That first 3 spots there organically is huge.
Definitely. That could also be a little mini hack. If you're a marketing agency or if you help other people with their SEO, go to the 3rd, 4th pages and then reach out to them and tell them that I can help you get on the first.
Just give away the sauce. Just give it away.
So now that we kind of understand what SEO is, what do you think are the key components to making an effective SEO strategy tailored specifically for service-based businesses?
I think number 1 is you have to know what your goals are as a business. And when you think about SEO, it's typically something that fits in with a bigger, like a more holistic picture to online marketing, right? At the end of the day, you're in business to make money, right, and to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that you're trying to hit 2 million this year to grow from 1 million, then it's going to give you an idea of like what you need to spend to get there on your marketing. And that's where someone like me comes in and says, okay, you know, depending on the market itself, this is the percentage of that 10 that needs to come to digital for you to be successful. So SEO fits in with like pay per click and Google local service ads, Google My Business, but people need that because it's real estate that is tough to lose once you get it. You do have to work to maintain it, but once you're on that first page of Google, you're golden. And the last thing I'll say about that is there's 17 spots on the first page of Google, depending on what kind of device you're using. If you can have yourself in the ads and in the Google Maps section, and then organically, now you have 3 of them, and you're taking up a lot of real estate. And that's the idea, is to make yourself an option everywhere somebody can make a decision.
That's interesting. You know, I was probably about a couple months ago, a friend of mine who owns like this like small health clinic. They do like, you know, physiotherapy and like massage services and whatnot. He reached out to me and he was basically telling me that, you know, hey, for years he's been basically getting a lot of word of mouth. You know what I mean? A lot of his traffic comes in through referrals, right? People kind of come, they experience it, and they kind of just say, hey, my back's hurting me. You know, oh, I know I got a chiro, I got a guy. You know what I mean? Or I got a business that you can go to. But he was telling me that he started realizing like this, almost like this dip happening in like new patients showing up. So he wasn't getting new patients. He was kind of getting his repeat business here and there, but he's not growing his business with like net new patients. So he kind of said, hey, like, what advice do you have for me and what can you suggest? So I kind of told him, you know, like, let's start with your Google My Business profile. It's like, it's all over the place. It's not really focused on local. You know, I looked at his website. I said, why don't you try optimizing a little bit to kind of appear, you know, to show that you're actually based out of the city that you're based out of. And, you know, these are the services that you have to offer. And it was interesting because, you know, a few months kind of after that, he's just small tweaks actually started making like a significant improvement, and he started ranking higher. I even told him to kind of like maybe consider writing blog posts or articles about like, you know, his services, and he actually started to see that growth happening. But I'm wondering, but based on like on from an SEO perspective, like how do you think service-based businesses need to optimize from a local SEO perspective? Because I think that's one of the other things that a lot of times when you're in a service, most likely the customers that you're going to get are in your backyard, like they're in your community. They're not gonna, you know, like I live in London, for example, London, Ontario. I'm not gonna book someone to do a service for me that's based out of like Toronto or Vancouver or even somewhere in the States. Um, so what advice do you kind of have for businesses to kind of optimize locally?
Hire a professional. Um, but if they can't, but seriously, if they can't afford it and they want to get like, don't just hire anybody, because a lot of people do get burned from SEO. I think would be my first thing. If you have to do it yourself, if like you need to do this on your own, you have to take a look at like search as your customer would based on like your intent, right? Drain cleaning company near me. Not just like plumber or plumbing service, stuff like that. The things that are going to help you get the quickest return are going to be those more intent-based keywords because they're more unique. You know, I could tell a story about a guy who was doing storm work for roofs. He was like a roofer, and he had a pretty big roofing company. And there was a storm that hit in Bergen County, New Jersey. So we wrote a page about storm damage and hail damage repair in Bergen County, and he was number 2 the second day. That's like lightning in a bottle. That when something like that happens, when you do it perfect like that. But what you have to do is think about that very specific thing that you want and focus on it, and have a page on your website for each of your services. So if you're a plumber, have a page for drain cleaning, have a page for sewers, have a page for camera inspection. So have a page for each of your core services, and think about how your user is going to search and write those pages accordingly. Like include those keywords in those pages 5 to 10 times. Take a look at your competitors. Take a look at the people that rank there already and see how many times it's in their copy. That's like a step one. If it works, God bless you. Start an SEO company, because you also have to do like link building and everything else behind it. But that's kind of the number one thing to kind of get it to get that sort of thing going, is just look at the gap between you and your competitors and see what the opportunities are there for you.
That's great.
So speaking of, you mentioned like have a separate page for each one of your services. What kind of content do you think that like you found the most effective in like engaging, converting potential customers, even just ranking higher?
I think that's a great question. There's a phrase that gets kicked around in our industry a lot, especially this year. It's called like the purple elephant or the purple unicorn, something like that. And basically, what it means is be unique.
Mm.
So if you look at a lot of service-based businesses, like just search for plumber near me, and you're gonna land on the website, and you're gonna read the page, and it's gonna the same stuff across each of the websites that are there. It's gonna say been in business since 1983, family owned and operated. What is a drain? Why do you need drains cleaned? Right? Think about it at a different angle. You know what I mean? Like think about like what's a good purple unicorn for a drain cleaning company? We just started our business. Why is drain cleaning important? Why can't you? How do you know your drain's clogged?
Mm-hmm.
Just think about taking a different approach to it.
Do like
Ask AI.
The 5 common things you find in the drain.
There you go.
It's like,
That's like, why is my drain clogged? Like what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Number one, is your girlfriend stuffing eggshells down the drain again?
Yeah.
My wife now. Shout out to Laura. But that's kind of the stuff. It's like, why is the drain clogged? That's a really good idea. That's a good one. Or like think about an electrician, fuse boxes.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific problems? Or here's one really good one that I just thought of now we're talking about it, is a lot of times people in HVAC will seek out a second opinion. So they'll have somebody come to their house and they'll get a quote, and the tech will tell them that like it's a coil or something like that, and they need a new unit. So then they'll start looking for like HVAC installation, like talk about like what the coil is if nobody else is doing it and how it ties in, and just include HVAC company near me or whatever you're going after 5 times. So it's really just unique content in a roundabout way.
It seems like it's also kind of value-driven content as well, right? Like all the examples that we gave were all things that are not necessarily hire me, pay me. It's like, here are some things that you might want to know. And we talked about this in our last podcast too, where we're just giving people information that they'd be seeking out anyways, and then they'll stumble upon your page, and it's not necessarily giving away your secrets, because I might still not know how to change my coil, but if you show me a tip or a step or whatever to maybe not drain or clog my drain, then I'm trusting you with when it ever does clog, and I can come to you and be like, that actually seemed really hard when you showed me how you did it. How about you just do it instead? And then they're going to go and hire you.
Yeah, dude, exactly. It's kind of like what we're doing even now a little bit. Like, I'm happy to tell everybody how to do their own SEO. And when they start doing it, they're going to be like, I don't have time for this. And hopefully they call me, because I'm not going to, rip them off and everything. Mm-hmm. But tell your customers, like we just said with the coil and, the what gets stuck in drains, like that kind of thing. That's the stuff you need to put on there so they can maybe help diagnose it themselves or understand that they need you. Yeah. And then ultimately find you and choose you.
That's so interesting that you also had the stat, like most people in HVAC tend to get a second opinion. And do you think that they consider the internet as a second opinion, or do you think they want someone else out there to tell them?
That's the thing is, so I have this guy, he's in a really competitive market in the States. And this is something that we talked about at length that is working, is people that you want to go after the people that need the second opinion. So they're not going to type in second opinion into Google, right? They're going to look for the problem that the one guy told them so they can try to get a better deal, right? So if you create content about that thing, and then maybe you run an ad to that page, and the ad copy on Google says free second opinion, and now you're giving them exactly what they want, and you're helping them find you too.
For anyone listening, I hope you wrote that down. That was gold. That was like, go back and listen to that again.
Yeah, I'm not even that smart, but I know this stuff. That's how that goes. Like that's what it's like.
Yeah, that's a really good tip.
That was really good, actually. So going back to the whole, writing content about things that are getting stuck in your drain, for example, and we'll stick to this maybe example for this question. Like, where do you start with keyword research? Because it's like, as a service-based business, it's like, okay, sure, there's things I need to make sure that I'm hitting the mark on before I kind of go down and start thinking about how do I get unique. So what do you kind of suggest? Are there any tools people can look at or consider?
There's a very free and very valuable tool that you can use. There's one tool that's valuable more than anything, and it's Google Keyword Planner. It's a free, it's Google Ads. You can type in, I have one up right now, and I'm just looking at Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and Delaware County, Montgomery County. Water conditioning system, water conditioning installation. I can see how many searches a month happen for, what the average cost per click is. And what I want to be able to do is identify which of these keywords that I'm looking at has intent behind it. So intent is like a near me, or something very specific, like we just talked about with the coil, or, what is stuck in my drink, like those kinds of things that have intent where they need to hire somebody now are the keywords you should focus on, because they're going to be less competitive. You'll see they're less competitive because the price on them on Google Ads is going to be lower, but the volume is going to be there enough for you to warrant putting your effort into it,
There's also I think there's also something to be said about like the type of service that you're offering, right? Like there's certain times where it's like, my basement flooded. I'm looking for a call to action, like quick. Like I need a phone number to call. And sometimes like having those things like hidden is not the best thing either, right? So it's like I know one of my friends he had to look through like 4 or 5 different sites until he found like somebody to call. And he's like, my basement flooded. Like I need to call somebody ASAP.
Yeah.
And even something as simple as that, like updating your Google My Business profile to ensure you have those things is super, super critical.
I know you're 100% right. I know of another company who's really big, and in their their Google, like when someone searches, you can see underneath like the page title, like the description of what the page is about. They'll put in there, and in their ads, we'll see you in an hour, or do you know what I mean? Like those kinds of things. So for like their emergency AC repair, that's the stuff that the customer or the prospective customer sees when they Google, and that helps drive business because it's got that call to action there. I mean, obviously, you should turn that off when you're if you're running an ad for it, turn it off when like it's crazy busy, or like if there's like a blizzard and it's the opposite, it's heat. But just to have that kind of there in your content is huge because it separates you from everybody else, and it kind of shows your commitment to service.
So let's use that example that with the Google keyword planner tool. And for example, like so, let's say I own a plumbing business, right? Like where do I start?
So I would use that tool. Where I would start is I would Google the service you want. Most of these guys that are starting out that I talk to, and girls that I talk to when they're getting started, they're doing a lot of drain work, right? So they want to get in for the drain and then get other kinds of work, that kind of stuff. So Google drain cleaning company in, let's say Pottstown, Pennsylvania, or Hamilton, Ontario, whatever it is, and see who comes up for it. And then look at their page. Look at how many times drain cleaning is there, And then there's obviously much more to it than content. There's backlinking and everything. But to just kind of get an idea in the beginning, take a look at that. If you're like, man, these guys are everywhere, look at what they're doing everywhere. Just read the page and try to find a pattern. You know what I mean? You're going to see, we call it a gap analysis over here. So we'll know how far away you are from your competitor, and the competitor analysis that we do is going to show you what the difference is between the density of the keywords for you and them. So if you're just starting out, just Google drain cleaning company near me and take a look at the page and see what's there, and then copy it, make it unique, punch it into AI, and then rework it. Tell them you need 1,000 words, rework it, and post it on your page. See what happens. Let it rip.
I love it.
I feel like also like not take other people's content, but when you're consuming other content, you don't want to be taking it. You want to find inspiration and not imitations. It's like you're looking at this and you're just kind of like, okay, what are they doing? And how could I, what did you say before, the purple unicorn? How could I, what is my purple unicorn to this? What twists am I adding? What makes this business unique and different from the one that you're looking at? Don't just copy and paste it, because that's not going to be good.
You're right. Don't literally copy and paste it. I did not mean to mislead you guys. Don't. If you literally copy and paste it, that's one of the worst things that you could possibly do.
Yeah.
But it's, what did you say? Inspiration, not imitation. That's the idea. Is you want to have that kind of work with it. Like see how like literally copy their content, put it in the ChatGPT or something, and say how many times does it say drain in here.
Right.
And
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about video content. How important do you think video content versus written is for service-based businesses? And also like what kind of videos tend to drive the most engagement and conversions?
Not boring ones.
Right. I mean, that's everything.
Yeah. So video content it's invaluable. The bigger you get, the more valuable it is to you as a business. Especially when you're looking at running ads on YouTube and you start to do OTT and that kind of thing. But out of the gate, somebody like me or you, let's say we have a plumbing company or a landscaping company, whatever, that's worth $500,000 or less. We have a video and we can run that on Facebook as an ad, and then we can retarget the people that watch the video, and give them a special messaging. So if I run a video just for my brand and says, hey, I'm Bernie's landscaping company. I've been in business, the last couple of years, would love to service you, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. And I run that during a heat wave or whatever kind of company I said I had. Run it whenever it's going to be busy so people get to know you. Then you can start remarketing back to people that, haven't or that did watch it and give them a second step to do, like come to the website and read a blog or do whatever. But it's great when you're smaller as an introduction to people. And like I said, the bigger you get, the more you can invest into it, the snappier the video is going to be, the cooler it's going to be. We have a whole video and photo team here at One SEO for these kinds of things, but it's incredibly invaluable.
Yeah, I feel like another thing that you kind of mentioned there is the ability to pivot when there's, like if there's a storm or like, for example, Toronto just had like a big storm, everything was like blacked out, we lost electricity, things like that, people flooding. It's like being able to pivot and tailor your content to what is currently happening in your area is also really important because people are going to be looking that up. Or even if it's like a little bit more niche, if you know the eclipse is coming up, for example, everyone was Googling, like, did I ruin my eyes by looking at the eclipse? If you're an optometrist, like, you should be tailoring your content towards eclipse content. Like, everything that's happening around whatever's going to be happening in culture, you should be doing things to fit that because people are going to be looking it up.
100%. Any way you can kind of fit yourself into that, like, anything trending or anything that's literally going on right now, if it's a storm, if it's the eclipse, whatever it is, then you're going to make yourself, then you're the unicorn, Is it going to drive you, is it going to make you $1 million right now? No. But is it going to get you introduced to a lot more people? 100%. Yeah. That's the idea.
I think that's the key, right? I think a lot of times people kind of sometimes overcomplicate, video content specifically, where it's like, we live in an era where, this device is in your pocket at all times, right? So it's like you're on your job site, you're at a customer, and it's like you see something that could be content, that could be a video that could stand out. Take advantage of that opportunity, right? Like don't over engineer it, don't overcomplicate it. Sometimes like I've seen some videos go crazy viral, you know what I mean, for businesses, and they're just the most simple video ever. Like an explanation. Here's what I'm doing. Look what I found in this drain. It's actually eggshells, a lot of eggshells.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like something as simple as that, it could just be like an eye opener, right? Like it's just from a brand building perspective, I think it can actually make or break businesses, to be honest with you. Like if you go back in time, I would even say like 10, 20 years ago, the idea of like let's say a plumber capturing video content, it's a long shot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you would see the average plumber saying, hey, let me take a video of this and bring in a camera crew and all that stuff. Like, we live in a time where like your camera is your phone. Like, so it's take advantage of that.
I have another story. I know this guy in California, speaking of that, he was a plumber. And he is a client of ours, been a client for a long time. But back in like 2017, 18, he would just like set up his video, no microphone, just like whatever was on the phone. Shitty audio quality, not good video quality. But he would take videos of himself like fixing toilets and doing all kinds of other simple plumbing things. And his YouTube just kind of like blew up. Wow. And now he got business from it because a lot of people obviously locally. But you're right, that's the idea, is to just do it. You don't have to overthink it. It's video. If you're weird without a good script, you're going to be weird with a good script.
That's
so you have to make sure that you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's who you're putting there and like what the situation is.
And people want to see some personality because going back to like being unique, you're unique. You as an individual being in the business is unique in and of itself. So like showing your personality and showing like the faces behind the business is what is going to connect people. Because again, with home services, it's a little bit more vulnerable because you're coming into someone's house. So they want to know that they can trust the person that's coming in, or if they like the person coming in. So you have to be good at your job, yes, but also someone that I want to invite into my home to fix the service.
Back in the day when I first started doing this, we would write in content sometimes for people that our techs will not smoke in your basement, like that kind of stuff. But it worked. That was a concern, like that's, people used to think about that. So you're right when it comes to building that trust and like, but being like cool or not cool, but like being yourself in your content, like literally giving your value proposition as it is and not what you think. Like we just talked about in the beginning, the standard boilerplate, been in business this amount of years, American made, based in this place, whatever, it's kind of just,
the standard stuff. Oh yeah. What about social media? Like when you look at social media for service-based businesses, you know, and when you look at their overall digital marketing kind of plans or strategies, if you will, like like where do they start? Like should they pick a platform, prioritize a platform? Like what are your suggestions there?
I hear this a lot on marketing podcasts. Like people talk about this stuff. I'm going to give you guys a unicorn about it. There's two things. Number one is if you have a marketing manager, then you have a resource internally to start making you like scrollable, TikToks and things like that for organic posts. And that's the stuff that everybody I ask questions about the most because it's what they understand. But to really get the most out of social media advertising is number one, set the right expectation. It's going to be few and far between that you cold sell a new furnace from a Facebook ad. But what you can do is if you have a list of people that you have serviced before and that aren't in your comfort plan, you could upload them into the back of Instagram and Facebook and Instagram, the Meta platform, and you can hit them with an ad about seasonal maintenance. Or if you're starting a plumbing division and you have that customer base, you could put them in and run ads to them and say, hey, we are starting a plumbing business. We'd love to give you a $50 inspection or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So think about what you already have at hand and how you can use it to better service or to drive more business for yourself. And think about your funnel and the strategy you're putting out there. Are you thinking about activity or are you just running ads because somebody told you to run ads and to spend $1,500 a month on it? So think about like where you're driving people to and what you want in the end. Mm-hmm. So, and the better you can qualify them ahead of time, the better off you're going to be. So if you have an ad campaign, even on Google, make the audience specific, like people in the top 10% of income, people that, I don't know, are 35 and over, whatever it is, whoever your target customer is, like make them the audience first, like pre-qualify them ahead of time before you run ads.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk more about the funnel? You mentioned a funnel. What is a funnel in digital marketing strategy?
It's a shape that marketing companies throw around and try to act like they're smarter than you are. But what it really is, it's like it's just think about like the three steps, right? Like the introduction, the get to know me, and then the hire me, right? That's it. So the number one is, like we said, we just run the ad like, hey, it's Mo's Landscaping. We'll love to come and cut your grass. So somebody watches that video, they see Mo cutting grass with his team. Great. They see the truck. Awesome. Then he can send them a second ad that says, hey, download our, PDF for lawn care, for how to have a greener lawn, how to take care of your grass or whatever it is. And in that, he's got like the steps they have to do, put down the line and whatever else it is in that document. But to download it, they have to provide their email and phone number. Fine. So they do. And then let's say he runs an ad again in the fall. It says, hey, we're doing aerating for our customers. We'll be in your neighborhood the next couple of weeks. Give us a call if you want us to come aerate your lawn. And now you have a funnel. That's three specific things,
Yeah.
And that's just one way to go about it. But think about like where you're driving people to. Don't just say like engage or like introduction, engagement, and then conversion, whatever it is. Think about like what you want that to be, and then build your plan and audiences and everything around that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the funnel is also really important when you're creating your content because it's important to know why you're creating that piece and what the desired outcome is. So if you're creating a video and this is just purely for brand awareness, you're not going to be disappointed if, you don't necessarily get a lead right away from that because this is just a brand awareness piece of content. Then you're going to do other content that is more like nurturing that audience that you brought in with your brand awareness that you just did. So now you can do more specific kind of content about what your followers want to see. So if we're talking about grass cutting, for example, the top of funnel content will just be you cutting the grass. And that's like aesthetically pleasing, satisfying. People want to come see that. And that can be anyone, right? If I'm in Toronto versus in California, I want to see that. Versus if you do more specific local, something niche to your field, then that might not be as many views, but you're nurturing that audience. So it's really important to know why you're doing what you're doing and then posting a mixture of everything so that it's not just, brand awareness all the time and then you don't actually tailor to any of your leads.
That's what happens. You're right. And people, they'll just leave these ads running. Like sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, I'm not getting any leads. Mm-hmm. And then I look at the ads. They're like, yeah, we've been running these ads on social media. And it's, it's the middle of July and they still have a heating ad running that they had up since February. And it's like, of course you're not getting any leads. You're number one you're spending money in the wrong. I'm not kidding, by the way. You're spending money in the wrong places.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to kind of keep up with it, and you have to make sure you're, like I said at the very beginning, driving people towards what you want. How am I going to get them there? What do they want? Well, they want a nice lawn, right? So at the top, we can tell them that I cut grass, and then if they don't hire me to cut it, I can give them a way to help them understand how they can have nice grass, and then I can just get them to hire me for a step for it, and then I got them next year to cut the grass. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of drive that behavior the way you want it to be driven.
Yeah,
because even though some of those like grass cutting videos are like very satisfying to watch.
Oh, they're sick, dude. I love them.
I love them, right? Like they're amazing, but it's like you have to look at it from the lens of like as a business owner, it's somewhat a way for you to flex your business, right? To be like, this is what I do. Like, you want grass like this? We do
dude.
this.
You want stripes?
We do this every day.
You want checkered patterns, man?
Exactly.
Is that what you want?
I love the designs. Yes, if you can do a design, please show me. It's sometimes not even practical. It's not even practical. I wouldn't want my grass to look like that, but it's aesthetically pleasing for me.
Like,
yeah. We can do a whole podcast on grass, by the way. I know a thing
for real, dude.
grass.
I saw you perk up a bit when I mentioned grass. I'm also a grass guy. One of my best friends owns a landscaping company. He's been trying to get me to hire him to do my grass. I'm like, no, dude.
I know.
I want to do my own grass.
I like hedges. I like seeing people like forming the hedges and the designs that they did. Those are cool to me.
Oh,
yeah, I don't have the motor skills for that, but I agree. Those are awesome.
I don't have a yard. I just watch it. I just watch it because it's fun. Again, brand awareness. Okay, I'm not a client for you, but I want to watch your videos.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You tell your friends about it. That's what you'll do.
Yeah.
Exactly. My friends own houses.
Your friends. Yeah.
So let's talk about PPC advertising. You mentioned pay-per-click at the beginning of the podcast a little bit. So how can businesses use PPC to complement their SEO?
The biggest thing is making sure that you're doing the right kind of paid advertising. So if Google local service ads are available in your market, sign up for those because it's the easiest. It's a pay-per-lead kind of thing, right? You're going to mark calls booked and not booked. You just got to have a licensed insurance, no violent felonies in the last 20 years to get through a background check, and Google will guarantee you, right? Those are so easy. Yeah. That's all you got to do. And then you'll be hopefully at the top if you're doing the right things like marking your calls as booked and not booked and engaging with the platform that Google has and so on. The second is like that the Google ads right underneath that. And what you want to think about there is intent because it's easy to waste money, especially if you're in home services. Like if you have a $250,000 HVAC company in Toronto, you're not competing with some of the big boys out there. It's just not going to happen. Or even like Indiana, where you got giant companies like Peterman and stuff. That's not. You're never going to be there for everything they are. So you really have to think about what do I want, and that's going to be the intent. To go back to intent again, near me, coil repair, whatever it is, and then qualify that person before you spend money on the click. Again, top 10% of household income is of a certain age and is in a certain zip code. The more you can identify that person and hone on the intent, the more successful you're going to be. Unless you have a $500,000 a month Google ad budget that you could just, I want to be visible for everything all the time, no matter what. And one more thing too about this that I see often is when you're doing Google ads, look at your impression share. If you have somebody doing it right now and you're not getting anything from it, if your impression share needs to be like 70 to 80% for you to be successful. And what that means is you're visible 7 or 8 times out of every 10 somebody searches for the keyword you're bidding on. So if you're not visible, it's never going to work. So monitor that impression share, monitor what you're spending your money on, and spend those dollars wisely. And
then change it up. So if you're not getting that 70, 80%, what should they do?
Either put more money into the keywords or go after different keywords you can afford. And that's just the way it goes. You can do things too, like day part, which is bidding on certain hours and times of certain days. But by and large, the best way to be successful is to identify those intent-based keywords up front and just hammer them.
I really liked what you said about identifying your customer before you spend money on them, because I think a lot of times businesses this is really scary, right? You're putting money behind it. You're taking the money that you made and you're putting it into something that should give you some kind of return. But if you're just spending it frivolously, oh my gosh, English. Yeah. I can't say the word. If you're spending it recklessly, then you're not going to get the return that you're looking for. So also making sure you're doing the work before you even put in your credit card information. What is your what's your common customer? Who do you want? What do they look like? What are they spending their money on? What's their demographics, gender, age, whatever, location, before you even put any money behind it, so that you're not wasting your time.
Yeah. And if you're single, before you go on a date with somebody, or before you start swiping through people on apps, you pretty much, you know what you like, you know what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing when you're doing this. Like, I know, let me just identify that right now, and I'll know what to spend my time and effort on ahead of time, you know?
Yeah.
You know the keyword.
I want someone in the top 10% of household income and is 30 years old.
For man in finance.
Lives in this zip code. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You basically have to do that for your business before you spend
100%.
money on them, before you go on the date.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit. When we talk about like the website itself, right? Like there's obviously certain essential elements of a service-based business like website that can actually help contribute to like, okay, now you've kind of landed, you've ranked high on Google, you run ads, you brought people to your site. Let's talk about like, conversion rates. Like how do you achieve high conversion rates? Like what are some of those things that, from a website perspective, that service-based businesses should be taking care of?
You have to make sure that the website has a good user experience. But just forget I even said user experience. I don't want to talk over anybody's head. When somebody lands on the website, make sure the phone number is visible in the top corner and doesn't move. And every time somebody scrolls, make sure that there's something for them to do. Like fill out a form, book an appointment. The phone number is right here. Have pictures of your trucks and your staff, or you, whatever it is, on the website. Don't, like, the blue overall stock image with the yellow hard hat is a death sentence. I have, like, Jill over here. I've been working with Jill for like 5 years. She's our head of sales, and I'm doing the partnerships. Her blood goes cold when she sees the blue overalls and the yellow hard hats and stock images, just because it's garbage. So just take some pictures of yourself, put it on the website, and show that you are a good company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the most important thing is to check off the boxes with Google. User experience is just like not so much page speed anymore, but sticky navigation, page for every service, visible phone number. I'll give you a website. If you go to chrisbro.com, CRISBRO.com, that's a site we built. That's a great website. It's a great example of how a home services website should look if anybody wants to go there. But that's Christofoli Brothers. But that's what you want to look like when you're online. It should be pretty much just like that to the letter.
You mentioned stock photos, and I saw a post the other day that was like, stock photos are killing your SEO. Can you talk more about that and why that would be the case?
Yeah, there's stock photos aren't killing your SEO. Your shitty website content is killing your SEO. There's a lot of other stuff killing your SEO. I'm sure the stock photos aren't helping, but what's killing your SEO, I'm sure, is the technical side of it. But in terms of like the stock photos themselves, it just doesn't. It's not unique to that place. It's also, you got to tag that on like your Google My Business. I'm sure you guys know that, and to put your your image tags and all that stuff on the picture itself. But if it's something that everybody else has too, it's you're probably gonna get dinged for it. Google's not the most transparent with that kind of stuff, but that's probably why. But no matter what, it's always best to be original with your content. If it's like, you're not gonna just copy somebody else's logo, why are you gonna, or their content? Why use the same pictures? That's what people see. Everybody knows that, like, you have to present yourself well, right? So why are you going to use the same stuff everybody else does when all people do is look at pictures and read headlines anyway?
I think that the post was talking about, someone was they used the example of a spa, and it was like they reverse image search that picture, and it was like 10 different spas and salons that use the exact same stock photo, and people are like, well, they're not going to trust you if it's like Google. First of all, can't tell who's the original, and then they can tell, but it's not your website. So if everyone's doing that, it's not going to help you rank higher. And then secondly, from the client's point of view, not even SEO wise, it's just like, well, I saw this photo in 5 different places, and also I went there and it doesn't look like this. So it's like, it just changes things up.
Isn't it crazy how like med spas are like the biggest offenders with that? And they really are. Some of them had the same pictures, and I'm not hating on anybody. I'm just saying, like, they just like invest in somebody to come and take pictures and videos of your business, especially when you have like a great facility like that. When you have an awesome staff. It's
arguably like the worst experience when you show up to a place and you're like, where's this in this?
Yeah.
I see this picture here. Where is this? Does not look like this.
No, I think investing in, your SEO, your content, having a photo shoot just to supplement you for your website is so important to your business, because as we literally talked about this entire podcast is how important SEO is, and your content, video and photo is also part of that, and how that can help you rank better.
Yeah, I think people want to see authenticity, right? Like they want to feel that it's actually real, even though sometimes it's like it might not be the most professionally done photo, but it's clearly you, like your business. It's these are shots of your actual work. It's not just
Mhm.
you know a stock photo that's just been repurposed a million times, like you said.
Yeah, and that to kind of go on top of that too. There's the idea that of looking affordable. You know, if you're smaller, and that kind of does make you look a little bit more affordable,
Mm,
but not cheap or unprofessional. Just
Mhm.
you get into like there's no doubt about it. Like if you go to certain websites, if you're looking for anything, if it's shoes, a purse, whatever, and it's like a banger of a website, you might be like, shit, I don't know if I can afford. I haven't seen the prices yet. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
You don't want to put people off like that. But if you want to be like, I have customers that do want the cheap work. They do want to go to the kind of more sketchy neighborhoods, and they do want to work there. You know, and
Yeah.
their pictures,
Sketchy
because that's
neighborhood.
there's business there. They have pipes there too. You know, it doesn't
That's true.
matter, right?
Hmm.
That's kind of that's like the idea of that kind of like looking like be who you are. You talked about that earlier. Is kind of like being yourself. Like so, just be yourself there
Mm-hmm.
too with your website. Have good pictures. Have videos on your social media if you can. It doesn't have to be, you know, the Mona Lisa if it's a picture, and it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
Titanic if it's going to be a video. Just as long as it's there and it's authentic.
Hmm. And organic social media will also help rank for certain things if you're putting it, if you have the right titles on. So like YouTube Shorts, for example, if you're looking up, if you have something that people are looking up, which you can get on answerthepublic.com, AI can help you. There's a lot of different websites that can just help you with what people are talking about in a specific industry. And then you post that organic content for free on your social media. And that if it's good content, it will do well. And then it will show up when people are looking things up like that.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, the second biggest search engine is YouTube. It's
Yeah.
not Yahoo or anything.
Yeah.
That's
I thought TikTok surpassed it. Is it back now to being YouTube?
it's for sure YouTube. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's YouTube. I know that people do search on TikTok,
Hmm.
but when it comes to especially like the trades and stuff that we're talking about too, it's for sure YouTube number two.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
TikTok. You know the problem I think with TikTok and their advertising right now is like I'm not sure if like the targeting is where it needs to be to warrant the kind of budgets yet,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
But I do think it's very valuable to have a presence on TikTok. And sometimes when I say that, like people, obviously guys in trucks with wrenches all day look at me like I got 8 heads and stuff. But it's like I'm serious. There's also like plumbing companies on there that
Yeah.
have huge followings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can also repurpose very similar content. So like the reels that you're posting on Instagram, you can repurpose it, change it a little bit, make it more TikTok friendly. If you're already taking vertical video, you should just have a
Mm-hmm.
presence on TikTok. Um,
100%.
you never know what's going to go viral or where it's going to go viral, so you might as well try.
Yeah.
Do you often find yourself, Bernie, like talking to clients and saying, "I need you on TikTok," and they're just like, "It's
No.
not gonna happen."
Dude, I brought it up a couple times to the bigger customers, and they're like, the one person was like, "Yeah, we should be on TikTok. How do we do that?" And I was like, "I think you should have somebody just doing like organic content on TikTok for you because I'm not there. I can't make videos and stuff.
Right.
But I think that's one thing you should be doing to help yourself right now,
Mhm.
kind of organically. But usually, yeah, if I stop bringing it up, sometimes I will, depending on the person. Like if they're like, "What else can I do?" But
Mhm.
when I first started doing it, I was like, "I'm telling you, man, you gotta be on TikTok for ads, or just have somebody making videos for you." They're like, that's for kids. My daughter's on there
Yeah.
doing
Yes,
dances and
yeah.
shit, whatever. I'm like, whatever, dude. A lot of people, everybody's on TikTok, except for I
Mhm.
bet you were on TikTok. You just won't admit it. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's also a common misconception. Every time like someone brings up TikTok, it's like, oh, it's just for like the young kids, but it's like
Yes.
on TikTok. But also like people think you just have to go on there and do like silly little dances. And it's like that's not
Mhm.
necessarily true. Like you could do any kind of
Yeah.
videos. But also having I used to have a client that it was a spa skincare, and once we started showcasing the owner's personality a lot more, we're doing more lip syncing videos, and we did do like silly little dancing videos once in a while. Those ones went
Yeah.
viral. So then when they go onto the page, they see the other videos that are more like information based and value driven, and it's just like you just have fun. You just can just have fun on TikTok. It's not as serious.
100%.
Yeah. It's not
Showcase your
serious. It's not
personality.
stuffy. Nobody's too cool for TikTok.
Exactly. Like you're not too cool for TikTok. Just get on it. Get over yourself and
Yeah.
get on it. So I want to talk a little bit about online reputation and how that pertains to like their SEO. So how can service-based businesses manage and also improve their online reputation?
I don't know, Tanya, how can they? It's your. I'm just kidding.
With
Nah, it's
a nice
when you do, yeah, with nice job.
job.
Have some, get reviews. Number like get reviews. Have reviews. It used to be. We used to offer reputation management as a service, and we don't anymore because it used to be easier for us and anybody to just push down the bad stuff on Google. You're never going to get rid of it. So the idea is just push it down and own the first page. Now, reputation management kind of implies more of that the review side because people look at reviews. I personally will look at reviews before I go to a place or if I'm going to hire somebody I don't know that I don't already have a client for. But that's kind of how I operate. And most people, especially in my age range, which is between 30 to 40, people are going to operate that way, and up to they want to see what people say about you. And if you have bad reviews, fine. Make sure you're responding to them like professionally. I've seen people that just blow up on the reviews that they're people that are pissed off with them, and it's like, dude, somebody had a bad day and left you a shitty review. Why can't you just say, hey, contact us, let's make it right, and ask them to remove it? There's ways to do it, but I think reviews for SEO and everything is very much a volume game. So the more you have, the better off you're going to be. I have a client that one of the first people that we use Nice Job for, and you guys are the only people that we recommend now for review management, because if we look at it, he just started his HVAC company in January, and if you look at his reviews, you're going to see that he gets one like it's like 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, a month, about 2 months, a month. It's just so many reviews that it helps him get so much more business, and that helps out the SEO a lot too, because if I can get people to find it and then the review side can help people to reach out to him, now we're playing on a different level. So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's one of those things that people sometimes forget about, right? It's like you're doing a great job. You might as well ask for reviews, and if you can't ask for it, find a tool that will help you kind of ask for those reviews, right? So it's
what I
definitely
hate?
what's that?
I hate when they say like, oh, our techs do that, and it's like,
Yeah,
no, they don't. How many jobs do you run every day? And they're like, well, we have 10 trucks, each one does 3 or 4, and it's like you have 600 reviews. That's no, they're not asking for them.
yeah.
So when you
Actually, we had
automate something with Nice Job, it's like,
unless you're incentivizing your staff to get that review, it's going to be hard for them to kind of ask for it. It's just one more thing, right? Um, okay, so we're reaching the end. I have another question here, maybe to kind of wrap things up a little bit. Um, when it comes to service-based businesses, like what metrics should they actually focus on when it comes to their digital marketing efforts, right? I mean, I know you talked about having a plan, going after who you want to target. What should those metrics be?
revenue generated from your digital. So track everything. Like if you want to get to 3 million and you're spending money on ads, budget appropriately and track everything down to the revenue. Like Service Titan, for example, they have Marketing Pro that will do this for you. If that's too expensive for you, you can use like CallRail and House Call Pro. There's a bunch of different workarounds that you can do. Sarah is also a great one for this CRM. But track it down to like the literal revenue that came from that avenue or even to that specific ad. So you can track it to that. And then some other metrics, like we talked about, impression share is huge when you're running Google ads. And here's the thing: if you're doing SEO, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I could talk about this all day. SEO, to see if you're successful, your traffic and conversions should be coming from your service level pages, not just your homepage, right?
Yeah.
So those are the pages that should rank for the service level keywords. So if you're getting a lot of drain calls, they should be coming from your drain pages and not your homepage. And if they're not, and you're like, well, it's fine, it just goes to the homepage, you're like one Google update away from losing all that. So start focusing on the drain pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the 3 things I would say.
That's really good advice. So if somebody's from like one SEO perspective, I want to talk a little bit about that. Let's say I'm a service based business and I call you guys up. What's sort of like the game plan look like? Like what does that kind of look like?
I'm going to ask you what is your revenue goal? What are you doing right now to reach it? And then we're going to look at the data together. Me and you, we're going to look through your analytics. We're going to look through your ads. We're going to look through your service type or whatever CRM you're using. and we're going to see how successful it is. And if you're not tracking any of it, then I will set it up for you, and I'll show you what I've done for other people tracking wise that would work for someone like you. And then we're going to look at your competitors, and we're going to come up with a game plan based on your revenue goal. If you don't have a goal, I can't work with you. You know, you have to be realistic about spending to that goal. You can't spend $2,000 a month and expect to make $3 million. You know, you should spend 10% of your revenue goal should be what you spend. So if you want to make $2 million, you got to spend $200,000. That's not just on digital. That's across all your advertising, right?
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to recommend somewhere between like 3 and 5% of that 10 to come to the digital side for your Google ads and everything else. But that's typically what it looks like. When someone on boards with us, we have client relation teams. We have people that have been here for years doing SEO, pay-per-click, social media, YouTube, Yelp, all those kinds of different things. But it's going to be a custom experience for you based on what your goal is and what you have right now. And I'm gonna tell them to buy a nice job too.
I like how you have like tangible, like 10%, 3%, 5% should be on digital, because I think a lot of times it's like, oh, it all depends, which is true. It does all depend. It's like customized, but it's like in general, this is kind of like what you're looking at.
That's what you can expect, no matter who it is.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Bernie. I feel like you had so many great nuggets. If you didn't write things down during this episode, you need to watch it again. Listen to it again, because you gave so many great tips. But we always ask everyone, where can they find you, One SEO? If I was looking to hire you, where should I go?
You can email me directly, bernie@oneseo.com, or call 215-946-1046 and ask for Bernie. Yeah, you can email me, you can call me directly. Otherwise, we have oneseo.com as our website, @OneSEO Digital is our Instagram. Somebody's always here, whether it's me, Jill, one of the Nicks. We got a couple of Nicks that work here on the sales side that are going to be happy to help you out, take care of you. Yeah.
One of the Nicks.
One of the Nicks, I'm sure, will be more than happy to help you out. But yeah, that's how you get in touch with us. And we'll look at your stuff for free too. We have programs for smaller contractors. We have a Pro Series suite, we call it. It's $17.50 a month in our fees plus your ad budget to help you reach your goals. And that includes SEO, pay-per-click, and social media ads management. So if you're smaller, we can hook up with that too.
Amazing.
Nice, thank you. So if you were listening to this episode and you're thinking, I have no idea how to start, where to start, contact One SEO. They'll help you out.
I'll be here for you.
Right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Bernie.
My pleasure, guys. It was a lot of fun today. We'll do it again soon. I'll have you guys on our podcast.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. See you guys.
And that wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media @Built by Me Podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a 5-star rating. Until next time, keep building.